Mr. Chairman, the State Secretary has described in great detail, but also in a very careful and well thought through way everything that there is to say about the relations in the region and between Latvia and our neighbors. So I would like to do something different, and perhaps before we go or start thinking about dinner, tell you about my doubts or musings about something somewhat different. I want to talk about language, because over the last years I've been wondering that there is a problem in the language that we use. More specifically, there are 4 words that we interpret very differently depending on where we stand. Those words are power, influence, strength, and respect. All those things that all states desire, but understand differently. And when I'm going to discuss these things now, I want to warn that I'm not putting country tags on this. This is not a tension that goes along national borders. This is a tension within countries, within societies, and also within people's minds. Power, some talk of it or understand it as the ability to achieve your goals by force, by using weaponry, old and new. Certainly in certain situations you do need that, but this is such a small part of the real power that we should strive for. You have the real power if you have allies and not enemies around you. If you see allies along your borders and not enemies, then you have power. Tomorrow's power is primarily economic power. It's the power of your innovation. Power is about how many patents you file, how much you produce based on those patents, how much technology that will be the backbone of the future economy you create. If you create self-driving cars, then you have power. If you have an economy based on non-fossil energy, then you have power. If you have the ability to use the biotechnologies of today and tomorrow to cure your people, then you have power. Influence, some see it as the ability to manipulate actors in other societies and countries to create disruption. Some believe that influence is when you can dominate your neighbors, create spheres or islands of influence. In reality, this more often leads to entanglement. That does not increase your influence. I would rather see influence as the power of ideas. When people agree to the ideas that you have, when they want the same things you want, then you have influence. If you lead in technology and ideas that people really use, then you have influence. Then you set the standards in economy, in politics, in culture. If you have spheres of integration, not boundaries, not walls, then you have access to influence, because then it's not the loudness of your voice, but the strength of your argument that counters. And this is particularly important for a small nation. We talk a lot about strength. Now, if some people see strength as a rigid, elitist social structure where at the bottom you have inequality and disenfranchisement. I'd rather see strength of our societies in individuals who are empowered to have maximum social and economic contribution. And there you need education, long working age, through better health systems and so on and so on. That's what makes your society strong. If you have justice and equality of opportunity, then you have a chance to create a stronger society and a stronger nation. Some people believe that you become stronger through silencing dissent, through enforcing a single set of ideas, especially militaristic and isolationist ideas, on all of the societies. If you make people act as small screws in a big machine. I'd say that in the future societies, the real pillars of strength are justice and equality, but also legitimacy that is only created through managing differences and conflicts and divergent interests through a genuine participation. It's not because it's nice, it's not because it's morally defensible, it's because that's what creates a really sustainable society. And then you also need rule of law that creates social trust. And without social trust, you can't have a modern economy, you can't have a sustainable and peaceful political process. That's what makes you strength. And finally, respect. Some believe that respect equals fear. Some people believe that respect can be gained through coercing the others to dialogue by lowering the common denominator in a situation that is deteriorating. I would like to see respect as something that others give you when they recognize the moral force of your argument, when others trust your commitment to the values and principles you profess, then you gain respect. So these are two different logics. One is basically something that leads us to a zero-sum game, and the other one could lead up to cooperative competition that Mr. Spruce mentioned earlier. So different logics, different choices. And I'm not being naive. This more modern approach, it's not easy. It's actually very difficult. You don't get there by singing Kumbaya together. Today, looking at how we are faring in the European Union, where my country is embedded, I wouldn't say that we are making the kind of progress that we would like to make. We certainly make mistakes, but I'm quite sure that this more modern approach is the only one viable for my country. Getting there is going to be a hell of a challenge, but it's our choice. And my final remarks relating to this particular conference. I've been praising the Baltic Forum along with everyone else for many years for letting us talk here. Now, the problem is that sometimes we talk past each other, we talk at each other. What we probably need is a conversation. And a good topic for conversation might be meditating on the meaning of those 4 words that I just mentioned and trying to come to a better understanding of the words. And to finish, I think it will be important to mention the old idea promoted by Confucius about the rectification of names. And the idea is if you don't have the right names, you cannot succeed in having a proper language that will help you to succeed in what you actually want to achieve. I wish you all of us this better understanding of words and a better language that will allow us to have success. Thank you.